Hello, I'm Dr. Stephanie Depoy, and I'm a chiropractor here at the AlignLife office. I am here to talk to you today, though, just as a chiropractic patient. I have 3 beautiful children, and 2 of them I had at home with a midwife and had very easily and healthfully and made it so that I felt pretty confident when I was pregnant the 3rd time to have my child at home again. My son, Sawyer, is now 4, but his start was a little different than the other 2 children. I just wanted to talk to the folks who are currently thinking that chiropractic is something that they might want to do for their pregnancy, and I would really encourage anyone who's thinking about it to do so. With the first 2, I know that it really helped with my health and the health of the children, and for the ease of the delivery. Had very short labors and easy deliveries. My first child was 6 pounds 13 ounces. My second child was 10 pounds and 1 ounce. But my 3rd child had a different entry into the world. I was doing everything pretty much the same. I was eating healthfully. I was taking my prenatal vitamins. I was getting adjusted. I had visited my midwife a couple of times because this pregnancy was a surprise. I didn't realize that I was pregnant as early as I was, and so I'd only visited the midwife a few times before Sawyer was born. What happened, though, is something that was kind of a fluke, and I have been told by many specialists that it does happen, that I am just one of the smaller number of folks who does not show a lot of pre-eclampsia before they actually have eclamptic seizures. On December 4th, I was 24 and a half weeks gestation when I went from things going decent, normal, had just seen the midwife and had no protein in my urine. I was a little bit tired and had maybe a little swelling in my ankles, but I was working, so that was different than with the other 2 children, so that was something that was considered normal. What had happened was that my body decided to start making protein really quickly, and I went from being without any symptoms to having an eclamptic seizure. They had to take my baby early because that was the only way to save us both. I got to take a helicopter ride, and I went to a NICU where they specialized in very preterm children. I was very blessed to have folks that knew what to do in those types of situations and to be just so professional in what they were doing. The nursing staff, the doctors there, they were all very wonderful. And after a week as a patient myself, I got to visit my son for the first time. He was born 1 pound and 10 ounces. And when he was born, he actually was breathing on his own, which the doctor said was not something they saw very often at that preterm stage. But they did say to my husband that that wasn't something that they wanted to continue to allow because the lung tissue just wasn't as developed as it should be for that type of task. They wanted to give him some breathing support so that his body could use that energy that he had to grow. And so he did go on a vent for about 2 weeks, and after that he was on different breathing apparatuses, CPAP and a couple of other things. But at that point, we knew that we were in for a long time at the NICU. As I started getting stronger and was able to visit with the baby, we were starting to be told some of the different issues that can come up with these preterm preemies that are so tiny. And the first thing that they were really worried about was that he had not had bowel movement in the week and a half since he had been born. And even though that's not something that happens at that time in uterus, when the baby is born, it needs to. They were worried about a blockage. And at that time, the babies are so tiny that there is no testing that can be done to see like a scope or anything like that. So if there is a problem, they actually do surgery to look. So this was something that was serious and that was scary to us because that meant the baby had to travel from the NICU that he was at to a different hospital that actually did those types of things. We were at the first visit that I was really myself when my husband asked the doctor, the neonatal surgeon and doctor that he had throughout the time he was there, when we could start adjusting him, because I was a chiropractor. And long story short is, doctors can't give chiropractors assurance or licensure to adjust in the NICU. But being a parent, I could have private time with my child to do whatever I felt was in his best interest. So I did adjust the teeny tiny little baby, and within 24 hours he started having his bowel movements. I'm not saying that chiropractic is the only thing that went towards that, but I am saying it had a big impact, and we are so grateful for it. That was our first hurdle, that we knew that chiropractic was definitely something that could still be very helpful in the health and the growth of our children, including Seaver, our teeny tiny boy. The next obstacle that they were really worried about was his heart, because with the extreme prematurity, he had a heart valve that did not close like it does for all of us when we are born. It's the valve that is open when the baby is in the mom, so that the blood that mom is using is able to nourish the baby and then take away any waste that the baby has. Once the baby is born, they need to do that on their own, and that valve needs to close. And his did not, which is pretty normal for that prematurity that he was born at. A lot of those infants then need heart surgery to close the valve. That was the next big thing that was a worry to us. We of course had been praying about it, had other folks doing so as well, but we really were in a situation that is different than most folks. I was able to continue to adjust him so that the nerves could work on that heart as best as they could, so that he could grow and that valve could close. He was born on December 4th, like I said, and it was about the middle of February when they were really starting to talk about the surgery that was going to be necessary. We had about a 2-week stretch where his breathing was not near as good as it had been, and they were worried that the blood was mixing and he wasn't getting as much oxygen in his blood because of that valve being open. Well, this whole time they've been measuring the opening, and it'd be micrometers that they would be measuring, but he had so much of an opening that it was actually millimeters. It was closing slowly, but too slowly for their liking, and they put a deadline on it. This will be the time that if it's not done, if it's not closed, then we're going to say that surgery is necessary. They had some medication that they had tried right away to see if they could get it to close when he was first born, and I was still a patient, because that's what they normally do. It was a day in February when I went to go visit at the NICU, which I was going every day, that Seaver's nurse came and met me at the door. That wasn't normal, and she told me that the doctor really wanted to see us. And that meant one of two things. Either something was really not good or something was very good. When she brought the doctor to us, we knew that it was a good thing, that he had said that the test that they had ran that morning to measure his deficit for his heart valve, they couldn't find the hole. That meant there was none and there was no way to measure it. So we were very excited that he was not going to have any open heart surgery. So I know the chiropractic was something that really helped with that. I pray, Lord, we were very excited and very thankful that we were able to do chiropractic in the NICU, because we really felt that really helped that heart valve to close. The third thing that we really felt that chiropractic took a huge part in was that when our little guy was allowed to go home, which was the 3rd of April, that he was able to go home without any oxygen help. He wasn't going to have any oxygen go home with him. And our doctor told us that he was the first white male to leave that NICU without any oxygen. There are levels of ability to heal, and we were told when we were first there that Caucasian males have the hardest road because they have the weakest heart and lungs at the stage that he was born. And for him to go home without any oxygen help was not something that had happened there at that NICU before. So we knew that our little guy was a fighter and that he healed quickly, but we also knew that the only difference between him and so many other little guys there in the NICU was that he was getting chiropractic care. I want you to meet my little guy. So hang on just a second and I'll go get it. Let's tell Trisha what your name is.
Okay, what's your name? Are you Sawyer? No?
What's
Who
your
are
name?
you?
Seaver.
Seaver. How old are you, Seaver? 4 years old?
What's your favorite color?
Green.
Green. And what's your favorite number? 4, of course it is. And what are some fun things that you can do? What do you like to do?
Pet my puppy dog.
Pet your puppy dog. What else?
That's it.
That's it. Do you like to play outside? Yeah, when it's not raining or snowy or yucky out? Yeah, can you put this down? Can you show us how you hop? Tip right there. Show us how you hop.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Good job.
Can you tell us how big you are? Do you remember how much you weigh? No? Okay. All right, can you tell him goodbye? What else should we do?
Can you show me your Hulk hands?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, big Hulk hands.
Good job. Well, thanks for coming and seeing us, Seaver.